Good day as we prepare for Christmas. And that's what I'd like to cover this particular session. Not this coming weekend, but rather Christmas itself. And Christmas, the readings are complex because you have the vigil, you have the midnight, you have the dawn during the day, and so it'll be a brief overview, to say the least. And unfortunately, I have to apologize already, rather disconnected. First of all, the vigil starts off with the gospel, with the genealogy, the very beginning chapter of Matthew, if you read the whole thing, not just if you read the long form. And the genealogy is just very, very fascinating. It's very Hebrew, Judaic. It really basically is saying something by going through that list of names. That Jesus is rooted in God's Hebrew people, God's chosen people. And the business of 14 and 14 and 14. 14 people in the first third of the genealogy, 14 in the second third, 14 in the third third, really is a way of saying that God carefully prepared for the coming of Jesus. That Jesus is the culmination of God's work through the millennia, or God's work with his chosen people. And that everything worked up, everything that God did worked up to the coming of Jesus, to produce him as the fulfillment of everything that had been done through thousands of years. The going on to the Nativity Mass at night. These are just beautiful readings. The people who walked in darkness have seen a great light. The light has shone. It brought them abundant joy, great rejoicing. Rejoice! A child is born to us. A son is given to us. They name him Wonder Counselor, God Hero, Father Forever, Prince of Peace. It's like a trumpet blast announcing the great King, the wondrous, wondrous Lord. Here he is, what you have looked for. And he is magnificent, he is spectacular, he is great. Rooted in David's throne. The zeal of the Lord of hosts will do this. He will act and give you the culmination of his work. The magnificent God will bring God to this world in human presence and human form. And then when you look at the gospel reading for the midnight mass, wrapped in swaddling clothes, laid in a manger, the animal's eating trough. The angel of the Lord, who does he appear to? Not noblemen, but shepherds. The glory of the Lord shone around them, humble shepherds. But the multitude of the heavens could not be held back. They were there. You have this great contrast of magnificence of God coming in just incredible humility, lowliness, sweetness, goodness, but nevertheless very lowliness. The lowliness calls forth our faith. That is to say, God wasn't, by bringing Jesus into this world, trying to prove something to us. But rather, he was calling forth our faith, saying, now you have to do your part. I have done my part, but I've left a lot for you to do. I haven't done everything, and that's the whole idea of Jesus coming into this world the way he did. We have so much to do to bring his presence into the world, into our own little world individually, into our communities, church communities, and around us. So much is left for us. In the epistle reading, the grace of God appeared, saving all and training us to reject godless ways and worldly desires, to live temperately, justly, and devoutly in this age. He was cleansing for himself a people as his own, a people eager to do what was good. We respond. We open up our hearts to him, to the mighty and wondrous Lord, doing our part, showing by the way we live, we have him growing within us, giving him a path within ourselves, making us, by God's grace, making us open to him, allowing us to receive his growing in grace within us, and in turn, us growing in grace in him. In the going on to the gospel reading for Christmas Day from the beginning of John's Gospel. This is just magnificent, but we need God's grace to help us to plumb the depths of this reading. And we could go back to this over and over again. In the beginning was the Word was with God, all things came to be. The Word was with God, the Word was God. Notice each level here, the words there at the beginning, divine roots. The Word was with God, alongside of God. And yet at the same time, the Word was God himself. The idea of using the expression Word to talk about Jesus coming into this world. A word is a verbal expression of thought, the way we use it normally. In this particular case, it means God is expressing his very self. That is to say, from God comes God. So we're not just dealing with a verbal expression of thought, but the Word is a person, is the divine person, is God. But spoken in such a way, a humble way, that we have to be ready to listen. We have to be open. We have to be ready to receive. And in our lives, constantly unfold. Let God unfold, express himself to us. It's not on first hearing, one hearing, but it's a lifetime venture, a wondrous venture of letting him be born in us, grow in us, not so much born, but grow in us, grow in our midst, in our church community, grow in the world. Let us grow in him. And on that note, I'd like to wish you a very Merry Christmas. May God bless you, may God bless all of us, not just with his presence, but with his call to become more and more and more.